boys and girls. Welcome to another exciting episode of Film Banter. Tonight, we'll be reviewing a series of films. That's right, we'll be reviewing the new Blade Runner film 2049 that none of you want to see in your theaters. Why not, you little imbeciles? Anyway, we do hope you enjoy the show. So sit back and have a little bit of a drink or so, maybe perhaps an ice cream, and there we go. Let's start the show, shall we?
Everybody, episode 54 of Film Banter is upon you. Thank you for joining us for another fun-filled episode full of reviews and hopefully comedy. I'm Chris Picard, your co-host, along with my other co-host, Mr. Darrell K. Smith, who is appearing to be a little catatonic at the moment.
What's that?
How you doing?
I'm fine. How you doing?
You're good. Do you need some Vibrant or some V8?
No, I'm good, man.
All right. Welcome, guys.
Okay, it's good to be here.
Thanks
here
for
we
coming
are,
aboard.
Another thrilling episode of our amazing show.
Yes,
I'd
we're
like to
getting in there.
introduce my co-host, Mr. Chris Picard, over here. Oh, wait a minute.
Well,
Oh,
that wasn't what I was
screwed up
expecting
here.
something different.
No, I was waiting for the applause, but
Let's get it. Where is
apparently
it?
it's gone. No, it's gone away.
There would have been
Sorry.
applause. It's
Yeah,
okay.
what happened to the applause? Yeah,
I don't
that's
know what
not
happened, my
right.
friend.
Popular applause.
I don't know what occurred.
It got erased. Well, we shouldn't be talking about
Let's not
this
waste
long.
time.
Yes. Oh, look.
What happened?
I don't know. It just went to MG.
Oh.
Monosodium glutamate.
Oh, I can't eat that, you know.
You really?
I try not to eat MSG. It gives me headaches and
So when you
migraines.
go get Chinese food, what you do?
You know, nobody really uses MSG anymore.
No,
in
they
Chinese
do
food.
all the time.
A lot of the menus just
You
say
got to
no
tell
MSG
them,
with a
you
line.
got to tell them no MSG.
Well, you know what's funny about MSG? It's actually kind of sneaky. You know, whenever you see an
For your health,
ingredient,
my friend.
I'll cheers you. We'll do a toast to.
Show them the wondrous.
Oh yes,
the
his
torso.
his new glass,
It's
his
a
new
3D.
Did you see it here?
You can feel the rippling biceps.
the biceps of
Ryan
you know
Reynolds
who?
here.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool. There you go. It's your headset.
Do you know that sometimes when you see ingredients and it says natural flavors, that's actually another way of sneaking MSG into a product? I know, it sucks. It is.
God damn, that's horrifying.
I'm telling you, these food companies are sneaky.
They're very sneaky indeed. I do agree.
But let us, as you say, let's begin the begin.
Let's begin the begin. Now it is time. Begin the begin.
Your favorite song.
There you go. That was song by... Who wrote that song?
Was it Cole Porter?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It was Cole Porter.
I only know because you said it
Back
on
in the
every show.
1930s. Well, I do mention it, of course.
Which
and,
is fine.
Pete Townsend always did that show. For many of you who do like Pete out there, but there was a person who Pete followed, and who was basically the guiding light for Thomas.
Got it.
His rock opera. Doom, 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 doom. But anyway, Tommy was based on Mayor Baba.
I wish
And
I liked The Who.
basically. Oh, it's too bad you
Not
don't.
a big fan.
Tommy is such a great.
They're obviously very
a great
talented.
score.
I'm just not a fan of it.
You would be if perhaps the right CD crossed your
No,
path.
I just don't
Made
like it.
by someone who knows the Who so well.
I've
so in
listened
and
to
out.
Tommy. I've listened to many, many different things in their discography. I just don't love it. It's not
But
my favorite.
Tommy, can you hear me? Tommy, can you
I
hear
can't
me?
stand the Pinball Wizard song.
Really?
I don't care for that song at all. It's a cool guitar riff. I like the guitar riff. I just don't like the song.
Ever since he was a young boy, he played the silver ball.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
I
we've
see.
got
I
a
like
show
that
to
part
do.
of the song.
Well, that's a great song. What
I-
part don't you like?
The whole chorus
He's
about
a
pinball. I hate
with
that
a
part. I
has
don't like
to
that
be
at all.
a try- Oh, you're
I think
so
it's a
wrong, my
dumb
friend.
subject for a
It's
song.
not a dumb subject. It's a fine subject.
I don't care for
And it's
it.
about a man who was able to, to completely escalate his senses. He was deaf, dumb, and blind. blind
Yes.
from
But
having
he's- but
watched
he-
his father get
I know,
killed
but
by
he's-
his
but
mother's
he's good at being a
lover.
pinball player.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
The whole Thomas story. Is
Maybe I
quite-
need to watch the movie. I don't know. I haven't seen the film, but
Oh, you've never seen the film?
no, because I don't like
Ken
the
Russell?
music. I know. I
Yeah,
gotta,
but no, it's
it's
a
a big
wondrous
part of
piece
the
work.
film. If you don't like the
And there's
music,
a great actor by the name of Robert Powell who
Yes.
plays the Roger Daltrey's father. He looks a little bit like Roger, and he was actually in the wonderful miniseries by Franco Zeffirelli
Yes.
called Jesus of Nazareth, which
Okay.
is just outrageously.
well, I know that's a famous.
It is
film.
indeed. Yeah, we seem to have lost our applause.
Yeah. I don't know what
button.
happened. Well, you find out. Let's begin. I guess.
I guess it's time. Begin the begin.
Here we
Well,
go.
all right. Let
You're
us
gonna
go.
start the
We're
first
gonna
review,
start,
my
I'm
friend.
going to start the review here. I'm going to put on my glasses because these lights are bright.
Your review glasses.
The lights were bright in Georgia. Do you remember the night the lights went out in Georgia?
I don't.
My God, those wildfires right now.
Oh, in
100,000
California.
acres. Oh
It's
my
terrible.
God. The whole Napa Valley's destroyed.
In that whole area, that usually doesn't get touched by these things.
I
these
know,
fires.
so
It's
bizarre.
So sad.
Well, the
Have you
humidity
been
was
up there?
low, and
It's a gorgeous area. Have you
I've
been
never
there?
been
Oh,
there.
it's beautiful.
Never been there.
Loved it. It's
I don't
so
want to
nice.
go
It's
there
such
now.
A shame.
It is a shame.
I know
Ah.
Coppola had to close his doors of his vineyard
I'm
because
sure.
it was being.
Oh, I would
it was
imagine.
on alert. I don't know if it got destroyed,
I
but
wonder if it did.
it's really a
His
shame. It's such a beautiful part of the
Zoetrope
country.
wine is probably
Zeotrope, yes.
Zoetrope. No, it's
Yeah.
Zoetrope, my friend.
I thought it was Zeo.
No, it's Zoetrope.
Americans Zoetrope or Zeotrope? I thought it was Zeotrope.
It's called
American
Zoetrope.
Zeotrope, no?
Well, no, that's his film company too.
Yeah, but
Zoetrope
isn't
Film.
that where he got the name for the vineyard? Zoetrope.
I don't give a god.
I know his
No,
restaurant
it is
in
Zoetrope, but
his restaurant down in San Francisco in the city. It's called Nibam
I'm
Coppola.
going back to San Francisco.
I like that song a lot.
No, it's actually I'm going back to Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
The song of San Francisco is by a guy named Scott. I believe it's Scott McKay, and he sang a song called "Be Sure to Go to San Francisco."
I love that song a lot. That's
Be
in like every
sure
movie
to
about that time
wear
period.
Some flowers in your hair.
It's a great song.
And if we're going to San
I
Francisco,
love that song.
be sure to meet the gentle people there.
I also
All
like
right.
all the leaves are brown. Mamas and the Papas.
Yes, it is the
And
Mamas
the
and the Papas.
sky
of
is great. I love
course.
that song.
Lovely.
California Dream.
Lovely Mama Michelle.
There's a movie, I believe it's a Japanese film that I watched in college in a film class. It's a Japanese love story. It's called Chungking Express. And that song is in that movie probably like 10 times. It's like the theme.
Chongqing Express
Yeah.
is Japanese film, Chinese film.
I'm so, yeah, I don't remember if it was,
Chongqing Chinese.
then it's Chinese film. Wait, I don't remember what
Chinese.
country.
Chongqing Chinese.
Whatever it was a nice love story, and that song was woven throughout the entire film.
You have sweet and sour broccoli?
No, sweet and
Wait,
sour
you-
chicken only.
Oh, what about the broccoli?
No, thank you.
No broccoli for you?
Broccoli,
You
give
know
me
what
gas.
I love? I love the way Japanese people say Godzilla.
Gojira.
No, they say
Gojira.
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 Gojira! Gojira!
Yes.
I love that
Well,
myself.
you know, they don't have the L sound in
They
Japanese.
do not, indeed.
It's interesting.
Well, yeah, but it's only when there's an R present, then they'll say the L. They do say L from time to time, but not too much. So, all right, let us begin the beginning.
We've digressed for
We're
5
going
minutes.
to start our show here with a specific
minutes.
film. Are we 6 minutes in?
Yeah.
We're just wasting
We're
time.
bantering.
We don't give a round. That's right.
That was called music
Sometimes
banter.
we just have to banter about life.
Yes, we do.
Life is the bantering.
I
Harvey
agree.
Weinstein is in the news this week. We were going to
Talk
do a
about
wonderful
destroying a
little
legacy.
skit. I know, the poor man. He's just, oh my
Well,
God.
You know what I said when I saw this story? It's not that hard to not sexually harass people. It's
Yeah.
not that difficult.
You know, but it's the OJ syndrome. It's called I am God of my universe. I can do whatever
Yeah, but a
I
lot
want.
of people have that power that don't do that. There's
Well,
a
this is
minority
true.
of people
no,
that
you're
abuse
quite
their power.
right, but
you
there's
know?
a certain instability of ego.
Well, it comes down to yeah, I know. It comes to that.
Our present prez, as a matter of fact,
Well, that's true.
is one of those
Yes,
those
yes.
people.
It
He's
all comes
God
down-
of his
down to
universe.
ego,
He thinks
yeah.
he can do whatever he can want to do.
You know?
I can OJ, I can kill people if I so want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I do.
I'm gonna feel more powerful by demeaning you.
These
Makes me
men
feel
walk
better.
into a restaurant and they are immediately given carte blanche.
I know.
Whatever they wish to do, whatever they want to do, whoever they want to take a leak on, or whoever plant they want to piss
Yeah.
on, whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to do that
You know,
into a
it-
potted plant at a
I
restaurant.
know, it's so
what a
fucked up.
disgusting
So
guy.
Screwy though. The man.
Of all the things of he has a sexual rabidity that he can't stop himself. He has to do that
I
in
know.
front of a woman.
I remember
And
the
as
other
Ash-
woman now. We couldn't think of her name.
Yeah, who was it?
It was
Ashley Judd, right?
Ashley Judd.
Did
Rose
she's
McGowan
the,
and
was she the
Ashley
one
Judd.
that claimed that he wanted her to watch him take a shower? Because every woman
Very
wants to
possible.
see an obese guy take a shower?
Well, most of them seem to. He wants to watch them to watch him masturbate. That seems to be.
Nobody wants. Even I would argue, even the most attractive man on the planet, there aren't many women that want to watch him do that. Nobody wants to watch a guy do that. What's attractive
I
about
don't
that?
know.
Not alone somebody who looks like Weinstein, who looked like
Well,
he just crawled out from a sewer grate.
He
you know?
does look like someone spit and it grew.
You know, and I used to have such respect for his filmography, the kind of
well,
films he was taking
that
a
has
chance
nothing
on.
to do. I mean, listen.
No, but I lose respect for the guy a little bit behind that. You
I
know?
understand. Well, look
It's
at
really
Woody
a
Allen.
shame.
I mean, he went through a whole thing. Listen, he married his fucking daughter, for God's sake. Forgive my French.
Well, by
ladies and
stepdaughter, it wasn't blood.
Well, true, but
Not that it's okay, but-
he was
I
his
know.
adopted
I
father.
know, but it was consensual. It wasn't like he raped her.
well,
Not that I'm getting involved in that conversation, but
Get into the actual facts of the story, in which I do am
Did he
aware
rape
of.
her?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But he took lurid photos of her while she was quite undressed, and
was she underage at that point?
she was.
Well, then
indeed.
that's wrong.
Yeah, that was quite
no-
wrong. And
there's
that's
no
when
excusing
Mia,
that.
Miss Farrow,
Yeah.
went quite ballistic.
Well,
Let's
she
start the
should.
show, shall we? We're
Yeah,
going to
we've
start
really
with
digressed
a
here.
show called Our Souls at Night.
Our Souls at Night.
This is a brand new film. It just came out on Netflix. I'm very fond of this movie.
Yeah, I gotta watch this one.
I'm Redford and Fonda this movie.
Bum, bum.
And let me go back here. Let me get my hey. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, they've made, what, 4 or 5 films together,
They made
including
about
this?
5 or 6
A
or so.
bunch, right?
Yeah, they really have. I mean, they Electric Horseman, Barefoot in the Park. That's about it.
It'll take a while to recount that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But anyway, they made
The
quite a few-
Candidate?
Oh, did they do that?
Was she in that one
I don't
with
think
him?
so.
Was that just him?
I think that
Who was the
just
love
him.
interest in that? Doesn't matter. We'll
It
digress.
was just, I think it was Harvey Weinstein.
I think
was
you're
the
right.
love interest.
That's right. He doesn't have any
and,
sting. He
I think
doesn't
Robert
care.
Redford had to piss on a fire to put it out, and
Yes.
it happened to be on Harvey's mustache.
Oh,
So I
yuck.
think, but hey, haha. But you
So,
know,
back to Our Souls
let's
at
get
Night.
to Our Souls at Night. It's a fine little movie. It's a very nice, it's a gentle story. I like this film very much. I truly did. Robert Redford is looking worse for wear. I will say this. The man
he's
is
pushing
now
80.
He's pushing 80, and it looks like he's going to be pushing daisies shortly.
I hope not.
From under the ground, because he's looking older, and it just his body alone is going into a contorted sort of a walk. The way he handles himself, you can
Hmm.
see that he's uncomfortable. And you know, here's a great looking guy who went through the whole his whole. But you know, he was never just a pretty face. I will say that about Robert Redford.
No,
he was always a great
solid
director,
actor, good
solid actor,
filmmaker.
solid human being.
I agree.
In every respect. So I give him.
I love that he started the Sundance Institute.
He's
and
just a
he's
man
great.
of means.
I got nothing to say about him
I have
negative.
nothing negative to say about Mr. Redford,
great.
and he's quite composed and wonderful in this film.
Great.
He's kind of the he's the fish out of water here. It opens with Jane Fonda simply going over to him. They're both widowers.
Okay.
She shows up at his house one night and she says, "Hey, listen, you know, we're both older now. We both lost our spouse. I was wondering if you'd like to sleep over some night." And he goes, "But hey, what a
Nice.
hey, what? A what?" And she just says, "Yeah, you know, I don't mean necessarily have sex, but just sleep together. Get through the night. Help me make it through the night."
That's kind of a cool proposal.
Little country song. You know who sang that song?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm terribly sorry. Your time is up. No washer dryer for you. No
Thanks.
Proctex Siler. Proctex Siler.
Proctor
Silex
Siler.
blender for
What is
you.
it? I forget. Proctor
Proctor
Silex?
Silex.
That's right,
Proctor
Proctor
Silex
Silex.
blender for you. And rest in peace, Monty Hall. But he just died last week.
Did he?
Let's make a deal. Okay, so it's a nice movie. It's wonderful. Jane is great. She's very gentle and kind. And Robert is kind of bizarre. There's really no conflict in this movie whatsoever. And I like that. I like seeing
Sometimes
a movie.
you don't
that-
need conflict.
It was just nice. There is a little conflict that comes in because Jane has a son who's kind of a
Yeah, yeah,
druggie, a little bit of a druggie. His wife just left him. He's got a kid. And it just that he's not fond of Robert Redford
course
because
not.
Robert Redford cheated on his wife many years
Oh,
ago.
too much detail, too much detail.
And it just gets into a little bit of a mix, but I like this film.
I wanna check it out.
It's a tender little love story.
And we said it's on Netflix, right? It is
it's on Netflix.
It just came last week, I believe.
I think, and so did I.
Great.
I came
Just once last
also.
week?
I think it was just once.
That's tragic.
I might have come twice, but but to watch this film, I just came once. I watched the film,
Nice.
and it was a good film. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, check it out.
Okay.
And now Mr. Picard is going to go on to
I'm
Mr.
doing
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley. I'm doing a film called An Ordinary Man.
Might as well be your biopic.
Yes, An Ordinary Man. Ba-dum-bum.
Okay, go
An
ahead.
Ordinary Man. So, in this film, Ben Kingsley, it's a new film, 2017.
Yeah.
Ben Kingsley plays best way to put it is an exiled war criminal from the
yeah?
Eastern Bloc of Europe, one of those smaller
Well,
countries.
he's a Nazi.
No, he's not a Nazi. No,
I thought he was a Nazi.
no, he's
I did not see that coming.
I know, but bum.
Hey.
No, he's a guy from I guess the former Yugoslavia. He was a war hero to some.
I didn't know there was a former Yugoslavia. Was
Well,
it?
Yugoslavia is now called whatever it's called now.
It's called Yugoslavia.
No, I thought it changed names.
It might have been called.
No, I think it was originally Yugoslavia, but now it's called something
Maybe
else.
it was my Slavia.
Yeah.
Now it's you.
Whatever that area used to be.
Yugoslavia, yourself.
That area, that whole little corner of Europe near Russia, a lot of those small countries that used to be part of the USSR.
Okay.
I get confused as to the history of some of those countries, the names. Some things have changed.
Yeah.
Regardless, that's the area he was in. He's a war criminal to the majority of the view of most of the world,
Right.
but to a small group of people within that country, he's a hero. So
I see.
much like The Exception that we reviewed a few months back with Christopher Plummer, in this film, he's exiled, but he's got a group
Now
of...
you just kind of didn't clarify when you said the exception. I thought you were actually saying much like this exception to the rule, but no, you're actually talking about the film
movie
called The Exception.
Yeah, we did a movie
which
recently.
I love.
Yes, that's
we
a film,
love that film
about the exiled Kaiser at the brink of World War II, who was basically being exiled. I guess it was in
Correct.
the Netherlands by
Yes,
the
yes.
Nazis.
There you go.
This film, he's got a group of people that help and finance his exile. Every few months, he's moving around from different apartments here and there. He gets his groceries. He gets his money for different things, and he
So do I.
exactly So he's basically he's on welfare in a way,
Okay.
but not in the traditional sense.
All right.
And so why it's called An Ordinary Man is his people really urge him, stay indoors, it's safer.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in the public areas. People are out to get you. There's a hunt for him, right?
Oh.
He insists on living an ordinary life. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do my shopping.
Yeah.
I'm going to go walk on the street. I'm going to go to the park, etc., etc.
Okay.
So
Whatever, so.
he's very much on his own.
Yeah.
And then he moves into a new apartment, and he meets this girl that is actually the maid of the former tenant.
Oh, okay.
And so
Not
they
too much information now.
No,
dude.
that's the main storyline.
That's
right
too
there.
much information.
Not really. And so that's the storyline. She becomes his friend, and they start talking, and they have friendly camaraderie kind of a thing. And
All right.
so the film very much is kind of a slow-paced study of this guy, his relationship with this woman. Not necessarily romantic.
Did you like that film?
I enjoyed it. I didn't love it.
It's very slow moving, I hear.
It's a little slow moving, but I wasn't bored.
Okay.
But not a lot happens for a lot of the movie. A lot of it is them getting to know each other, and we learn more about him and her.
You.
Yes, as the story goes
sorry.
on.
I apologize.
But what I liked about it was, I love Ben Kingsley. He does a great job. I think he
always does a good
It's a
job,
character
man.
piece more than anything. So
course.
you watch it for Ben's performance. The girl is very good. She's an Icelandic
Spreading
actress.
himself a little thin these days, I think, Ben.
Yeah, well, you also have to remember
he's
the
in every
amount of.
other film that he makes.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
And he's even in every film he does make also.
He is.
But he's in every other film he
But
makes too.
The girl's very good. Her name is Hera Hilmar. She's an Icelandic actress.
How nice.
Very pretty young blonde,
Oh.
and she's very good. So overall, I enjoyed the film. Is it a great movie?
No.
No. Is it something that's going to be remembered forever? Probably not.
No.
But, it's worth seeing once. I
Is it?
enjoyed it. Yeah, I think you'd like it. I think you'd like to watch it
Okay.
because Ben is great.
I like
He
Ben.
really does a good job.
He's a fine lad.
It's one of those movies that has some deep sadness woven throughout it
Yeah.
due to his character's past.
Okay.
And, if you watch it, we'll discuss what you thought after it
Okay.
ended. And
He's a great
I don't wanna
actor. I
give
think he is a bit underused these days. I did love him in Hugo recently.
Yeah,
the Martin
yeah.
Scorsese
Martin
film
Scorsese,
from
yes.
2012 or so.
Yes.
I thought he was really quite good in that. But I think he's an actor that's almost being underused these days.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
I'm
would
sorry
agree.
for that. I wish that he has great. I just think he's not being offered the kind of roles that are worthy
No,
of
of
him.
course, and there's also so much competition out there.
True.
So
And
the
there's a
amount
lot
of
of
roles,
older-
the good roles that come around,
Absolutely.
it's kind of hard to nab them. You're
It
fighting
is,
for them. And
indeed.
he was a producer on this one, so obviously he cared a lot about this project. It was probably in development for a while.
Exactly.
It was written and directed by Brad Sibberling, who did City of Angels, that movie Moonlight Mile a few years ago. It was kind of autobiographical with Jake Gyllenhaal and
Okay.
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, okay.
But so I'll say yes to this movie. Again, it's a performance piece.
It's a mild yes, though.
A mild yes. A mild yes.
Okay.
It's. I'd say if I were to give it a letter grade,
Give it a letter
B
rate.
minus.
Okay. Give it a number from 1 to 10.
1 to 10, 6.
6. Okay.
But you know what, Ben
Now
King's...
give it a star rating. Would you give it 3 stars or 2.5?
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 3/4. I give it
Okay.
that. But you know what, Ben King's...
Now give it a rating based on cars. Is it a Volkswagen? Is it a Mercedes? Or is it just kind of a mid-size Honda?
I'm going to say it's a Honda Civic.
A Honda Civic. There you
Honda
go.
Civic.
Very good.
That's it. You should start doing reviews based on vehicles now.
I love it.
Here's the Mazda.
Hey, listen, we went through the entire gamut of rating system. I thought we should add cars to that. How about colors?
Is it white bread or is it pumpernickel?
What color would it be? I think it
don't
would
know.
probably be maybe like a chartreuse.
Well,
not
if
a
black,
popular,
if
not
black,
a popular color.
If black is bad and red, no. Well, let's see. Would black or red be really bad? I guess
I
would,
see a red door. I
red
want
would
to
be
paint it
bad,
black.
right?
Yeah.
So then a good rating would be green, red and green, somewhere in the middle, right?
Well, that's kind of Christmassy, though, don't you
Yeah.
think? And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh no, but I
it's
meant
now
to say
time
real
for our
quick.
feature review.
I want to throw in one last thing.
Okay.
A movie with Ben Kingsley that I really love from a few years back is called You Kill Me.
Oh.
He plays an alcoholic hitman
Oh, I
who
remember
goes
that.
into treatment because he wants to get good at being a hitman again. It's a dark comedy with Taylor Leone. I love it.
Oh, I remember that film.
It's probably my favorite Ben Kingsley performance of recent years.
Wow. Okay.
I love it. Check out You Kill
and you
Me.
just watched Gandhi recently.
Yeah, that's a great film
Yes.
too, obviously. That's why I said
It's a
recent
wonderful
years.
film. I like it very
I don't want to
much.
say it's his best performance, but it's a lot of fun. that
Well,
movie.
he did win the big golden
For
statue.
Gandhi,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a must see. All right, now back to what we
All
were
right,
saying.
we're going to go into our...
Get your kazoo.
That's right. We're going to review Blade Runner.
2049.
2049. This is the sequel to the 1982 Ridley Scott
35
film.
years later.
Would you like me to begin, or do you?
No, why don't you begin? Because I know how much the original Blade Runner means to you.
The original Blade Runner meant a lot to me.
We discussed
Means a lot
last
to
week.
me. I went into this film expecting the world.
Well, these reviews are ridiculous.
And their reviews are ridiculous. The reviews
can only go downhill from there.
It's one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time.
I know, yeah.
I think you can only but be disappointed. Of
course.
I think there's the you know, I will say this. I don't want to go in too much about the film. Although I will be honest, there was much of the film that I was unable to absorb because there are many characters that are thrown at you that you're not quite sure exactly who they are.
Yeah.
It's a very long film. We
Almost
end up having,
3 hours.
It's 2 hours and 44 minutes
It's a long film.
So we have we have long time spending just looking at Ryan Gosling's very kind of, you know, he's a
He's the whole
strange
movie.
looking, he truly is a 98% of this film.
Yeah.
You know, he's a strange looking man. His eyes are very deeply inset.
Yeah.
He has almost a bit of a Cro-Magnon forehead you could show home movies on, you know, which is always a fun thing to do on a Saturday night, Ryan, if you want to come by. But
I thought I had the movie screen forehead, so he's got me.
oh, no, he's got
tied.
you beat, my friend. Oh no, well,
You know, I have to look at it
he's
again.
got the hair
I
pulled
never
back.
noticed his hairline, his forehead.
Well, he's got
I gotta
big
take a
forehead.
look at it
Well,
now.
take a look. Well,
The eyes I've noticed.
I mean, come on. You know, I mean, you're sitting there studying this man's face for 2 hours and 44 minutes. He basically is the whole film.
he is, yeah. Harrison Ford doesn't come in until the third act.
He doesn't come into the final 45 minutes or so.
at
You're
the
right,
end,
the third act.
Yeah.
Did I love this film? I did not. I wanted to love it from the depths of my
Yeah.
soul. You know, the problem with this film was, did it engage me? Was I engaged for 2 hours and 44 minutes? I was not. I sat there, I sat down with such great joy in my gut and soul. But I found myself, which is the true tell of a film that does not engage one, that is the old Timex syndrome
Yes.
of studying the clock on your arm. And I did find myself looking at my watch quite a bit. But okay, let's get into the film itself. It's far bleaker. We don't have the
Yes.
wondrous neon, that incredible neon that Ridley Scott created for Blade Runner. The original. I mean, there's just so much beauty in that film that every scene, every shot is just a masterpiece of design and concept. This film is very bleak. It's very gray. It's very dark. There's no lights. There's no coolness, which in a way is a nice conceptual metamorphosis of what the future is to be. Probably,
And there's also something that we learn about in the film that occurred which could have contributed to the lack of overbearing lights. Do you remember there's a reference to a major blackout
Oh, of
that
course,
happened?
yeah, the big blackout.
So you
yeah.
wonder maybe things aren't exactly the way they used to be because of that.
True.
You know?
Okay. Yes, the blackout is a major scenario of the,
Which
and
I thought was kind of a cool plot device.
True.
I enjoyed that aspect of it.
And I like the fact that Mr. Villeneuve just completely rearranged the molecules of the original concept of this film, and just completely took it in a whole new direction. I'm sure Ridley was amazed and respectful of his vision. I found his vision, for me, I just didn't absorb this movie as much as I wanted to. Ryan Gosling, there's an opening scene with he's not even really a Blade Runner in this film. To some extent, he's more or less just a man trying to survive, as Harrison Ford does say near the end. What are you doing? I'm trying to survive. Yeah. I mean, that's what everyone's just basically trying to do in this film. Mm-hmm. There were some great moments. I think the film really does bear another viewing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I
definitely agree with that.
I definitely want to see it again. Unfortunately, it's so damn long. I know at least I could have pulled a solid. At least 20 good minutes out of this film, I feel, that were just kind of dead air for me. Mm-hmm. But I have to say that on the threshold of expectation and the great expectations of the Oliver twist of the film, mm-hmm. which there is none, I just found the heart and warmth that finally arise, does kind of perk to the top of the cream, if you will. Mm-hmm. Towards the very end, I think it could have been far more moving than it was. But okay, I'm interested in your take on the film.
Yeah, well, I going into it like you were saying.
I know.
You go in there and you hear, oh my God, the greatest sci-fi movie ever made. All these, and I automatically put that out
of all time. But you do have to. You have to erase
you hear
that from
it, but
head,
I put it out of my head.
But you can't really, can you?
No, because it's there, obviously. But I went in there
exactly
with a complete open mind. And so, for me,
as did
I actually probably liked the film more than you.
Okay.
I actually really enjoyed it. However, yes, I felt the length a little bit of that film.
Yeah.
I saw the IMAX presentation.
I did
which
too.
was probably
I saw the RPX.
It was the loudest experience that I can remember in a long time in a film.
It was very loud.
The music in this film was so damn loud at times.
Well, it was the bass. It was just that.
Well, it has that sound, which I love.
That synthesizer.
But in IMAX, it was almost painful.
Oh, really?
However,
did you feel your bones just like shaking?
Not shake, but it was crazy. And my significant other was next to me, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is so loud." But nevertheless, it didn't ruin her enjoyment of the film or mine. I love the score. I thought Zimmer.
I thought the score. I was longing to hear. I was longing to hear the rest of the notes, which finally come at the end.
I know, at the end. Yeah.
At the end, we finally hear the Blade Runner love theme.
Yes,
you don't hear the actual theme.
Not
you hear the love theme.
But you're something that you recognize.
Right.
I still liked it. I liked the music was more in this film.
It was more atmospheric.
Yeah, more atmospheric. Which I didn't mind. I thought if this film doesn't win the Oscar for cinematography, it's a sin. It's a gorgeous looking film.
It's a beautiful looking
film. Roger Deakins, I've always enjoyed his work, and he did a great job in this film.
Okay.
Gorgeous. So I have been thinking about this movie a lot, and
me too.
I think I liked it as much as I liked the first one.
Oh, really?
I can't.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I can't say it was better. I liked aspects of it quite a bit. What I did like a lot, I thought the love story in this film, which was Ryan Gosling and this almost simulation that lives within his home.
Yeah, the
I
ex
thought that was
machina,
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool concept.
It was.
I thought the girl was wonderful.
We're familiar with her. She's
Anne
in War
Alma.
Dogs.
Anne de Alma. She's gorgeous. She was in Hands of Stone. She's a great actress.
She is lovely.
I think this, for me, for her, I should say, is a big breakout role for her. I think this is going to really help her career. I thought she's
been in a lot of things lately.
She has, but I thought this was really one that was a coming out party for her into
the
mainstream.
It's a big film.
Yeah, she's really good in this film.
She is.
I thought their love story was more realized than the love story in the first one. I didn't really feel a deep, deep love in the first one between Sean Young and Harrison Ford. This, I felt, rang more true to me. I cared more about their love. I felt like it was more real. Whereas in the first one, Harrison is a very much aggressor in the romance. Kiss me, it was more of aggressive. This was a mutual love. I felt that tied me into it and made me care about the two of them quite a bit.
Okay.
I thought that Jared Leto was kind of underutilized. He
Once
was in
again,
two
just like
scenes.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he's in 2 scenes. Awesome looking scenes, by the way.
Yeah,
His
beautiful.
office, gorgeous.
Beautiful. No, lovely.
And the woman,
A lot of orange in this film.
of orange,
a lot of brown and
especially
orange and yellow.
when he
lot of
goes
brown,
into the
yellow tone.
he goes into like the post-apocalyptic city area,
Right.
to where he meets Harrison Ford's character. Beautiful to look at there. They did a great job with the fog and the smoke and gorgeous orange tints. But back to Leto's office, it looked gorgeous. I thought that Sylvia Hoeks, which was his, I guess, assistant, who is basically the main antagonist of most of the
Correct.
film. I thought she was pretty good.
She was very good.
Yeah,
I
she
didn't
almost-
quite
almost-
understand. I
She's
didn't
like a
quite
Terminator character almost.
exactly. And
She was
they didn't really
constantly
make that clear. I mean, here he's working for her, and then suddenly he like leaves the area to go pursue, the Harrison Ford kind of aspect of the whole thing. And now she's like, okay, I got to get him now. It just that
Well, no,
sudden
because
twist.
she thinks that he knows the thing,
Something that about
the MacGuffin situation.
Exactly.
She's
But
after so
that wasn't made perfectly clear to me. I found that certain aspects of this stretched over 2 hour and 44 minutes. First of
they
all,
deliberately gave you some misdirection.
well, that's you know who.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Villeneuve does
Exactly.
that
He
in
does
every
that all the
movie he
time,
does. He conceptualizes that you, the
Yes.
viewer, know what just happened, and he kind of jumps to the next scene, assuming that you figured out, which is very brilliant. Prisoner is just wonderful.
Prisoners again is still
one
a
of the best,
masterpiece.
and even Solario or
Sicario, yeah.
Sicario,
Yeah,
same
great
deal
film.
with that. Wonderful,
film,
beautiful work. He
And
does.
I think we've said before, I really owe his last film, Arrival, a second viewing. I really need to see that
I
one
saw
more
it
time.
again, and
I need to give it one more chance.
Well,
because I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Backfired.
Yeah.
Backfired with the whole concept that the whole thing
I'm
actually
tired
doesn't
of it.
happen.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for that, but if you see it as, it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
let's
I think
stay
we're
away from that right now. Let's just
No,
stay
yeah,
on
so-
the film at hand. I wanted to love it so
I
much.
know.
I did, and I couldn't find myself. There's a climactic point with Harrison in a watery.
That scene was very
environment.
claustrophobic for
You know,
me.
I didn't. I felt like I was on a set. I was on a movie set there. I didn't feel like there was a
probably
lot
were.
of scope in this movie. The characters were all very, like, okay, she's over there. She's the antagonist of Ryan. Then there's Harrison over there, we know he's going to show up eventually because we saw him in the damn trailer.
I know, yeah.
So you're kind of thinking, well, what's happening here? I did like seeing Edward James Olmos again.
Yeah, that one scene was cool.
Yeah, he's in the nursing home or
Yeah, that was
whatever.
great.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was towards the beginning.
I like that too.
I just missed. I know what a brilliant guy Villeneuve is, our director, and he just, I think he made a film that was. I don't want to call it brilliant, but it was almost too high concept for me as a film viewer to appreciate. I wanted to, as I keep saying, I just wanted to love this so much, but he kept the carrot right above my nose throughout the film. He never let me just get into the moment where I could just sit back and let the movie entertain me. I had to constantly, when you have to work to go to a film, to understand precisely where the motivation of each scene is, what's going, and I felt that was never really clear. I felt that it was like a line instead of a straight line like Blade Runner is. It's a straight line. We have our opening. We have a killing.
It's a straightforward mystery. Yeah.
It's a mystery, but it's also just a brilliant little. Not a satire, but a black comedy almost, if you will, about man and man creating the Frankenstein. It's really a Frankenstein story all the way. Yeah. And we even have Frankenstein killing his maker, Dr. Tyrell, who is destroyed by
His creation,
Rutger
yes,
Hauer.
yes.
It truly goes into that vein. but you know, there's a momentum behind that film. You know, and then that mystery of how Harrison Ford as Decker has to find each of the replicants and go to get them. And it's just so beautifully made and filmed, and each set is just so magnificent. As a watcher of film, it's just, to me, a true masterpiece.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd.
I agree
Call
with
me
you.
what you will, because they make all these accusations. Oh, the people who love the first Blade Runner, you're just a bunch of nerdy jerks, or what? I don't give a rat's ass. I love the damn thing. This movie, as I say, it went out of the line. There was never a solid momentum that I could, you know, when a movie is played before you, you jump on that wagon, you jump on that roller coaster, and you want the ride.
Yeah.
I never got the ride.
Well, maybe a second viewing might change that for you at home.
Yes, because familiarity breeds not necessarily contempt, as the expression goes, but it breeds familiarity. Suddenly now you know, and you know, I watched Wonder Woman again the second time. I loved it more so the second time than I liked it the first time, and I enjoyed it the first time. The second time, I loved it. I just found certain things about a film that
I'm due to watch that again. I only
there you
saw
go.
once.
I loved it.
I think
really
also
did.
when you're following a film as beloved as the original Blade Runner is, it's almost hard to live up to the expectations of diehard fans of the first, and that also comes with Star Wars. When we reviewed Force Awakens last year, that kind of thing.
Or you mean that miserable
Rogue One that you hated?
Rogue
I'm
One.
sorry, you're right. Force Awakens was a year before you started doing the show. But anyway, I think in my view that this film is its own masterpiece. I think there's masterpiece elements to this film.
There is.
That I saw on screen that for me was very unique, and I was sitting there with just admiration for the images that I was seeing.
I totally agree.
I think it's an excellent film. It'd be interesting to show people who have never seen either one, show this one first.
No, that's not
then,
fair.
No, I'm just saying though. And then show them the original Blade Runner. See which one they end up liking more. Is it because, okay, well, I saw that one first, so therefore I like that one better? Or, hey, you know what? I like that Blade Runner first. I like that one better than 2049.
I
It's
think
an
that's a
interesting
totally
way-
irrelevant point. No,
Well,
offense
no, it's
to you.
also like these
I
people.
don't think it matters. Who
No,
gives
it
a
might
rat's
matter.
ass?
Look, how about
All
these
that
kids?
matters is we saw the first one, 30 years ago.
Yes.
Now we have the second one.
No, but what about these kids that would be seeing the prequels of the Star Wars films before seeing Empire Jedi and the original first?
Screw those damn kids.
Well,
that's what I say.
No, but that's my point, though. There are kids that I know that their trilogy is the original 3 movies, and then they don't have the kind of affinity for the ones that I grew up with as a kid, the ones you saw first.
True.
So that's what I'm saying. If you switch the 2 Blade Runners, are there people that might be seeing this one first? Will they
that
like
has
the
already
original?
taken place.
I
And
know.
I'll tell you this.
So my point is, do you think they'll like this one better than the original?
I don't. And here's why. And here's why I can prove to you that didn't work. It didn't work because this film was expected to make a certain amount of money, but word of mouth killed it. Word of mouth. This film
I
was
also
expected to
think
make about
people
50
that are
mil.
aware of it.
Then they figured, oh, it'll make 45 mil. No, then it'll make 30. It ended up making about 35, I think.
It made 50 internationally altogether.
Well, internationally. I'm
Yeah.
talking USA.
No, I know.
And word of mouth crippled this film because people just went in there, people who had never saw the first one before, a lot of kids who go to movies, they're the real movie paying public, that, 18 to, or I'm even going to go 16 to 30. Yeah, that's the majority of people. On a Tuesday and a Wednesday afternoon, you get the old farts in there with the bedpans lined up in the aisles and so forth, and the big buckets of popcorn with, all right, Skeeter, have a bit, blah, blah, blah. But, there's a cinema over here called the Washington Cinema, and it's over in Washington Township.
I know, I've been
New
there.
Jersey.
It's like
We've
a
all been
shoebox.
there. Well, it's like a shoebox, but you can see the little Earl and Pearl
I
heads.
know, it's all
you see the little
cotton
silvery,
balls everywhere,
the little
yeah.
silver head, the little cotton
Yeah,
balls,
yeah.
exactly, and it's a touching moment. But yeah, I gotta say,
But I think that
the
also-
momentum of this film was not
Also,
enough.
I think
to
the
keep-
running time
and
hurt
the
this
running
film,
time
too.
Killed it.
It would have probably done better if it was a 2-hour film and
I
not a
agree.
2:44.
Well, obviously, they can
obviously.
fit more showings in on,
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
But I really do
It-
think
it
that
certainly crippled its own box
when
office just with
the
that.
screening that I was in, I didn't recall seeing anybody that looked anything under 30s. I mean,
Okay.
I think this really is a film that's really getting mostly the people that are familiar with the first one. You're not going to get. Even,
No, I disagree. I think you're getting.
I don't
you're
think
getting
a lot of
experimenters.
young
Listen,
people
the
know
reviews have been
anything
off the
about
cuff.
it. I know.
I think there's plenty of people who, yeah, and I did like the fact that at the particular theater I went to, there was a double feature. They showed the first one first, and then they showed this following right after.
Which would be cool to do if you haven't seen the original. Do that. That'd be cool.
This just seemed like a dug up corpse to me, which exactly what it was. We have a specific character in the first who is dug up, and I like the whole thing that there's a offspring of Harrison, and I don't want to give too much away here, but there is in fact. So but gosh darn, was that enough to keep me going for 2 hours and 44 minutes? It wasn't. And visuals are, you can go into a museum and stare at lovely photographs for 2 hours, and you're bored out of your mind by the end of it. And that's kind of how I felt. I walked out of the theater, and I felt like I felt so on the fence, because it is a breathtaking piece of work.
I know.
It really is. I mean, I keep going back to the word conceptual. The conceptual essence of this film is so brilliant upon its own skeletal, hardcore essence that it felt like this should really mean something. This should really be something great. But as a movie to sit and watch and be entertained by, I was not entertained.
Okay.
I was simply there as I was there as as just a poor guy sitting in the theater waiting for something to happen. I mean, I was impressed because I love visuals. I love sound. I love the sensual aspect of every movie I see. I truly do. I can sit here and watch garbage, but it looks beautiful on my magnificent television. I have an incredible sound system to blare it and to just make it just look spectacular. And sometimes that sensual thing will keep me going. And I don't mean to ramble.
I know what you're saying. So the bottom line, do you recommend? Do you give this movie a yes for people to go see?
Yes, I do, because
you got to recommend it.
The reason I do is because I think over the years it's going to prove itself.
Of course.
I don't feel that it proves itself as a film to simply sit and, as I say, entertainment level, it's not great. It's not an entertaining movie. We don't have a quickening.
I was pretty entertained.
Well, I was entertained just through the visuals and through through that aspect.
I will say that this goes along with what you were saying. For me, the biggest thing, if there's a complaint, is just that you really have to pay attention because, like you said, a lot of things are being thrown at you. So for anybody that's going to go see this movie, you got to pay attention to follow the intricacies of the storyline, because there's a lot of stuff that you're going to miss if you don't pay attention. Like, it was hard to follow at times.
It was.
But nevertheless, I came out with it with a warm feeling of joy.
Really?
With admiration. Yeah, I mean, I really like the film. I mean,
okay.
Like I said before, it's a masterpiece in its own right.
It is.
I'm just not going to jump on the bandwagon saying it's the greatest sci-fi film ever and better than the original, because I didn't leave with that feeling.
Yeah.
I liked it. I could say I loved it, but I'm not going to just sit here and say better than the original hands down, because I can't say that, because I don't know if I feel that way.
George Lucas, back in the, I believe it was the 80s, made a film called THX 1138.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thought back to this film.
Yes.
There was a bleakness there. Everything kind of took place in a white. Everything was white, and Robert Duvall was in the film. And it was really kind of a very innovative, futuristic-looking film.
For a student film, by the way.
Basically.
Yeah, impressive, yeah.
Well, he made it after he made American Graffiti, I believe. I don't think it was a student film.
No, I thought he was still a student when he made this
American
movie.
Graffiti
I thought
was
Graffiti first? I thought
Absolutely.
this was. You know what it is? He made THX 1138 as a short first.
But
then he did
remade
Graffiti.
Exactly.
Then he did this. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
So, that film was thought to be, oh, God, it's so futuristic.
I know.
It's so cool. Well, do we revere that film as we sit here today? No. It's kind of thought of as a piece of nothingness. Yeah. It kind of had a pretension about it.
It had its moment.
It was pretensive. It had that thing that it's supposed to be great because it looks like it could be great. But is it really great? Does it really linger in the memory when you leave the theater? And that's all that matters about any film. All that matters is what we take out of the
lasting feeling.
Precisely. Watching the film,
the aftertaste of the film.
That's always a great thing. Especially comedies and action action movies. That's to see them and to just be a part of it and to live it,
I know.
as films allow you to do through their vicarious whole being of our brains up there on that screen reflecting back on us. And we laugh as the jokes go, and that's why comedies always are so much better. You know, I remember Spy when it first came out. You know, I so enjoyed it fifth and sixth and seventh time because there were jokes you miss because you're laughing and so forth. But in this film, I don't know what I missed. I mean, I still loved it. I still want to love it. I still desire to I wanted to be in, you know, I want to grasp it.
I know the feeling you wanted to leave with. You didn't get it.
I was frustrated.
So let's talk again about it when you've seen it again at home.
I suppose.
You know, and maybe your feeling will change. Maybe
I
it
may
won't.
even go see it again in the theater.
Yeah, it's definitely a big screen film.
It is a big screen film. It's just magnificent looking. I do think that Ryan was on screen way too long.
I mean, he was in almost every frame.
Almost in every scene. I thought there's an opening scene where he is in fact a Blade Runner.
And he's fighting with Batista.
He's fighting with Batista.
I was good to see him. There wasn't enough Dave Batista.
I was hoping he was. I was hoping we were going to have some real, you know, replicants coming at him. We didn't. We really don't have. It's really a mind. Pardon the expression. A intercourse of the mind movie. It just kind of messes with you. Then provide you with as I keep wanting to say a roller coaster to hop onto to go for this ride. It didn't ever do that. It stayed distant and far away from you, and that in itself is brilliant. Yeah. Because to be just out of reach, it makes you want to see it again. Yeah. It makes you want to understand what you saw on that screen, and I'm frustrated. Okay. I'm frustrated, and
I will say this for...
I want to hit myself in the head with my phone over and over.
I know. But I have to hand it to Denis Villeneuve, like we've said, that I don't think there's many people that would be, you know, eager to take on this project after...
God, I just wish he hadn't.
So revered,
you know? I wish he hadn't.
Well, he said, if I don't do it, I'm afraid somebody's going to fuck it up, is what he said.
Yeah, but why didn't Ridley just do it himself?
Because Ridley, I don't want to say he's...
Oh, come on, he made Prometheus.
He's too...
Instead of making Prometheus...
He's too busy in the Alien reboot central. I don't know.
Instead of making Prometheus, he could have made another Blade Runner. But you know
Maybe he was afraid of not being able to do his own movie again.
You know, I think he would have been fine doing it. I think he was just afraid of all the work that was involved.
Well,
because
it was a hell of a lot of work.
He put so much work into Blade Runner, more so than any other film he's ever made.
I know.
I mean, every little thing that had to work, and you know... he was so upset that you could see the wires picking up those cars.
Oh,
you know, the wires are in the scene. They kind of blurred them out in the new, the director's cut or whatever it is, the final cut. But gosh darn it, you know, I am frustrated because the first Blade Runner was just such an important, great movie. I have tears in that film every time Rutger Hauer passes away. You know, tears in the rain. Yeah. I cry like a kid. I really do. It just gets me. You know, this film just kind of passed right before me, and I wanted to grasp it, and it was just out of reach. So I do recommend it. I do recommend it because. Like Mother, it was unique. Yeah. It was you know, we haven't seen too many films quite like this. It did take a franchise not a franchise, but it took a film, a property, if you will. Good wording there.
Thank you.
It's so true, man. Sometimes you just amaze me.
I know.
But it's true. It took a property of Blade Runner, and it just took it just into another dimension. It truly, I almost have to just commend the making of this film as just being almost too brilliant for its own good.
They were saying they built all those sets. They went through the same kind of care that Ridley went with the original.
I believe it.
Very minimal CGI.
It was too brilliant for its own good, and it just wasn't enough movie magic. For me, in the heart department, and that's very vital to me when I watch any film. If I don't feel something, if I don't feel something when I watch a movie, and this almost made an effort to not make me feel, you know, just like Donald Trump makes an effort to keep the normalcy of the world away from all of us
Yeah.
during his tenure as Prez.
Yeah.
You know, and forgive me for using him as an analogy for this, even in something as wonderful as Blade Runner. But you know, I just it lost me. It lost me a little bit. But I still have to recommend it because people should see it. And if you're a sci-fi person whatsoever, and if you love movies of
it's a must see for that.
it is a new kind of a film.
I agree.
It really is. It's a step in the evolution of filmmaking that is almost unwarranted. We really haven't seen a film quite like this. I just wish it hadn't have been a Blade Runner sequel. If that was the problem, if I didn't have that to be so concerned and so, you know, I was so. I know we're going on too long here. What time is it?
Well, we're gonna probably only be able to do one or two things.
Well,
I don't want to go. I don't want to do an hour and a half show.
Well, we'll do another 20 minutes. How's that? It's almost 20 after.
I don't know if
let's
do
another
that much.
20. Well, we should.
Why?
But well, because we're not giving the people what they
We're
want.
giving them an hour of programming is what
An
we're
hour,
giving them.
but listen, they're disappointed. How many people we got? 81 out there. Hey, folks, how are you? Okay, good to see you. Love you.
I'm glad that you like to do that weird address to the live stream audience.
I do.
Anyway, shall we? Any final thoughts before we move on?
Oh, I could go on for another hour about this
know.
film. I really could.
I
It was
know.
just a frustrating. It was a frustrating experience. Visually, sensually, it was not up there with the original by no
See, this
means.
is how I felt, although with a lot less admiration, after I came out of episode 1 back in '99. The anticipation was at a fever pitch for that
You're
movie.
talking about The Phantom Menace.
Yes. And I came out of that movie and I was depressed and I couldn't figure out why. And I went to see it six
Well,
more
that was
times.
just a stupid
and I only
film.
got more depressed every time
Yeah,
I saw it.
just Jar Jar Binks.
I
and-
know, but you know, when you have
uh,
something as beloved as the original trilogy, which for me was almost religious when I grew up,
Okay.
to go into episode 1 and come out of that, you're just like, oh,
Yeah, but
man.
I can't put.
No, and I'm not.
This
And-
new
No,
film.
I'm
on
not saying, and
any
I'm not. No, this movie has
level.
so much more to offer.
It does.
But I'm trying to equate with your feeling, you know, in terms of
understand.
the letdown
Yeah.
of what you
Okay.
expected,
Fair enough.
and the feeling you left with.
Fair enough.
So, anyway, you want to move on?
We both recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to
definitely.
move on very quickly. There's a film on Netflix right now. It's also available at your local Best Buy, whatever stores you go to. It's The Cult of Chucky. It is the new Chucky film.
Yes.
It is a total waste of time. Please do not bother. I did love the fact that, what's her name? Tilly is Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Does make a nice
She's
cameo. She is back.
She was in the last one.
I know, but
I've
this
never
time-
seen any of these
well,
movies.
the first one is great.
Never wanted
no,
to.
Tom Holland directed, the same guy who gave us Fright Night.
Yeah.
I really liked. The
first one's worth seeing?
The first one's worth
All right.
seeing, and so is the second, and even the third and fourth, because Stephen Dorff, who is the voice of Chucky at the time, I don't
Okay.
think he is anymore,
No, yeah.
but he was really cool. And then Chucky becomes a real boy, a real man.
That's creepy.
Well, it was good. It kind of took it almost as the Freddy Krueger.
Pinocchio almost.
You know, one thing I did love about those Nightmare on Elm Streets,
Yeah.
as they kind of went on, they got more and more surreal.
Oh, yeah. And then they got
almost-
very campy and comedic. Hmm.
Almost, yeah, but almost drug-induced. There was almost a drug-induced surreality to it. I feel like I was watching a Dali painting come to life.
I
in
thought
some
the
of those
first 3
films.
Nightmare on Elm Streets were solid. I liked the first 3.
Okay, there
Three-
you go.
Part 3, actually, as a kid, was the first one that I saw.
All right.
And it gave me nightmares. That's the whole one that
Yeah.
takes place in the mental hospital.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, no, that's the first one.
Yeah.
I'm saying the
Oh, I'm
third
sorry.
one.
Oh, forgive me.
The third one takes
Oh, right,
place.
right.
Patricia Arquette. They're in a.
Oh, okay.
They're in a.
Was Karen Dunderkamp or Mellencamp?
Karen Vander. She was.
Vanderkamp?
I think that was the last one she was in.
I loved her.
Yeah,
she
she
was
was
in
great.
the first one. She was great.
But there's that scene in the third one. They're all in a mental hospital, the whole
Okay.
movie. And there's one sequence where this one guy is having this nightmare where Freddy then is like giant and he cuts the kid's forearms open. And the veins and tendons come out and Freddy's controlling him like a puppet.
Oh, that's cool.
Horrified me as
yeah,
a
yeah,
kid.
there you go.
But anyway,
There are
continue.
some images that just shouldn't be seen by children.
Yeah.
There's
Well, that
no-
movie, I didn't sleep that night. I
I
remember.
believe it. I believe
I was
it.
in 3rd grade.
I gotcha.
But I always loved Freddy.
Cult of
Regardless.
Chucky, forget about it. It's a total waste of time. Jennifer Tilly actually plays herself in this movie, which
I
is
hate
so
when they do
stupid.
that.
I will say this: Stephen Dorff's
His
daughter
daughter?
is in this film, and
Interesting.
she's very cute, and she's a very good actress.
Okay.
I enjoyed it just for her thing, but this is a throwaway film. Forget about it. Don't even waste your time. Let's move on to the next film, which is Score. A
Yeah,
film
and
music
I'll do this
documentary.
real quick. So this is a
right.
film. It's on Amazon
Mm-hmm.
right now. It's a documentary from last year, from 2016, called Score.
Right.
A film music documentary.
People who make the music
yeah.
and films.
So this gives you a brief overview of the history of music in films from the silent era all the way to today. And it doesn't linger in any particular period, so you're not bored. Fascinating.
Really?
It's so much fun, this
I
documentary.
have a feeling it would be.
You'd love it.
You got everybody in there.
It touches on all the major people that made an impact in the industry.
Hans Zimmer is in
Hans
there.
Zimmer. Well, yeah, he's in there when they start talking about the late '90s, early 2000s, because they're like that's the Zimmer period,
True.
where he really came into his own. And then
What about like Jerry Goldsmith? And
He's
all those
mentioned.
early
Yes,
guys.
Jerry Goldsmith is mentioned
Elmer
in
Bernstein.
depth. He's in there.
I loved Elmer.
Yeah, there's the '70s to '80s. There was the John Williams period.
Ennio Morricone.
He's mentioned in
Oh,
there.
cool.
Yeah, it covers all the biggies.
Good.
And
I'll
it's
have to check it
fascinating.
out.
Yeah, it's a
I'd
lot
love
of
to see
fun.
it. I
And
haven't.
then you see clips with the movies. You see a lot of not only composers themselves interviewed, but filmmakers. James Cameron's featured.
Oh, cool.
We have Spielberg and archive footage in there.
Mm-hmm.
You have Tim Burton. No, they covered the Danny Elfman.
John Carpenter. Who's
You know,
now on tour doing his own musical.
I'm seeing him. I
Are
told you I'm going to see him
did
in
mention
November.
that, right?
Yeah, John Carpenter was not mentioned. That's a shame. I guess they
That's
can't talk
strange.
about everybody,
Well, I
but
guess they can't.
but it's a
And he's not one of the biggies. He's only really known for Halloween. That's
Halloween's
really...
his biggest. He's done Big Trouble in Little China, a few other things. But I'll tell you, this is one of the best documentaries I've seen in a long time.
All right,
I
cool.
had a smile on my face the whole time.
And that's
'Cause
all
it
we
just-
care about is that you're smiling.
It covers all the fun stuff you love
when
and the
you're
movies you
smiling,
love.
the whole world
Yeah.
smiles with you.
It's great, and
Very
it
good.
covers my two favorites. It covers John Williams and Hans Zimmer. My two favorites.
What about the
Jerry
guy who
Goldsmith's
wrote,
great.
Titanic?
Oh, I was gonna say, and there's a very special tribute to James Horner
Oh, good.
during the credits, where like the credits scroll on the side of the screen. Yeah, he's in there. Yeah, they talk about that. They talk about James Cameron specifically talks about how James Horner sends him a piece of music,
Right.
and it's the piece of piano music that was playing over the scene where DiCaprio was sketching the naked Kate Winslet,
Oh, interesting.
and he said to
You
him,
know whose hands those really are?
they're James Cameron's. He's
I
such
know.
a talented artist. He's always
is.
doing that.
Well, of course.
So Cameron says, yeah, he goes, he sent me this file, and it just says scratch track.
Ah.
Sketch. He goes, here's a sketch track. Sketch.
Okay.
And he automatically in his brain assumed that what James Horner meant was, oh, you mean for me to use this over the scene where he's sketching her?
Ah.
And he's playing with it, and he goes, wow, this really works great.
Yeah.
And he calls him up and he says, Horner, get over here to my house. I got to
Yeah.
show you this. This scene works great with this
Wow.
piece of music.
Great.
And he comes over there and he says, oh, you like that? He goes, yeah, it was great. You meant for it. You said sketch. He goes, no, I meant here's just a sketch of a track.
Oh.
I don't know what you want to do with
Oh,
it.
I see.
Maybe you can make it work.
Right.
He goes,
But
oh.
Horner took him literally.
Yeah,
I mean, Cameron
yeah.
took
He
him
goes, I
literally.
thought you meant it was for
Gotcha.
that scene,
Okay.
and the rest is history. And then he says, okay, well, I know a great piano guy you can get to do this. He goes, no, I'm using yours. You did a great job at the piano playing.
Uh-huh.
We're using that. So I love the little tidbits like that.
Cool.
And I love James Horner. He's probably another one, my third favorite.
Yeah.
What a tragic end.
I know.
The
so
rule,
sad.
the rule of thumb:
So sad.
don't be your own pilot, guys.
I
You're going to
know.
crash. If you're a
John
talented
Denver.
artist,
Yeah.
don't do it. Harrison Ford almost died twice.
I know.
Anyway,
Or John Denver was
John
Rocky
Denver,
Mountain High, and
oh.
he died also.
you know, the day the music died, we lost
The
Stevie
day
Ray Vaughan.
The music died.
Anyway,
Let's move right
I
along.
can't highly
You loved
recommend.
it. Very good.
I
I'm-
loved
I'm
Score.
anxious to see it.
I can't recommend it highly enough.
Gonna
Let's
move right
move
on to the next film, which is called Happy Hunting.
Happy Hunting.
This is
Directed
kind
by
of,
Louis Gibson.
Louis Gibson.
Mel
and he
Gibson's
also
son.
co-directed by another guy, but has a great eye. It kind of had almost like a little bit of a Road Warrior scenario to it.
Is it a post-apocalyptic film?
It is not.
Oh, okay.
It is kind of just set in a very bizarre town where people like to set other people free to then go hunt them. Kind of as in almost that whole last half of Apocalypto.
Okay.
Mel, his dad, where, people are just hunted down.
Yes. Okay.
So we have this kind of a redneck town. We
Interesting.
have guys sitting there with sniper rifles, and they let these three guys go, and they have to kind of survive. And if they can get to the far end of the desert, and they're being chased by cars and so forth, and there's one guy who's kind of our hero guy, and he just keeps, keep going and going and going. It's well filmed. It's well acted. I enjoyed this film. It's just called Happy Hunting. It's very much like Island of Lost Souls, which
Okay.
is the original 1932 version, or was it Island of Lost Souls?
You don't think of Island Dr. Moreau, are you? No.
No, that's
okay.
something else.
Yeah.
No, this is called Island of Lost Souls, and what that actually is, it was a guy who lets people go and hunts them. This was back right.
Interesting.
Fay Ray is in the original film back in the 1930s, and it's wonderful. and it's just about this guy who likes to hunt his guests. He lets them go for like.
Oh, you're talking about The Most Dangerous Game? That
That's
famous book?
it.
Oh, yeah. I read
Not the Island of Lost Souls. The Most
I
Dangerous
read
Game.
that as a kid. I remember that vividly.
Exactly. I apologize.
I mean, there's so
for
many
my-
movies that have taken that concept. Hard Target did that.
I know. Also, there
Surviving
was
the Game.
There
with
was
Ice-T.
another one with a Sam Peckinpah film. And
Are you talking about the Austerman Weekend?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Rutger Hauer was in
Rutger
that.
Hauer's
film.
in that.
There you go.
And this film, by the way, it is available on Amazon. Just
Oh,
so you
cool.
guys know, we don't want to forget
wonderful.
to mention that. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
But that sounds good.
It is good. It's kind of fun, and it has a sense of humor about it.
Okay.
It's very well done.
Cool.
It has a little bit of a Road Warrior feel to it, no question. Not in the sense of where post-apocalyptic people,
Yeah, yeah.
but just the desert feel. And there's some great little twists. I really enjoyed this film. It's not a great movie, but it's a nice little 2.5 to 3 star mind time waster.
All right.
So there we go. Let's move right
Yeah,
on
I'm going
to
to do
a classic 1966
I'm going to do
film
a classic
that we
flashback,
both- Oh, I love this
1966.
film.
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
There was an Oscar winner. Can you name her? There were 2.
No, yeah, of course. She won the Oscar.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes, and supporting actress was Sandy Dennis.
Very good. She
Rest
won
in
also.
peace, both of them. The only
Both of them.
surviving cast member is George Siegel.
I know.
Because what's his name is also dead.
Well, Richard died.
Burton also
He-
died.
I think he died first.
He died in the
He
80s.
died before Elizabeth.
He did. Yo, she died in 2011, right?
My love.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say
Elizabeth.
this about this film.
She is the peak of pornography.
Yeah, you know,
I always loved Burton. I was a huge Burton fan. I love
Richard Burton's great. I got to
What a
say, though,
voice.
I'm embarrassed to say, this is the first movie I've ever seen that I can remember with Elizabeth Taylor. I haven't seen enough of her movies, so I
I've
don't...
seen many.
Yeah,
of her
so
films.
I was...
No,
I was,
she's wonderful.
Yeah, I was very much
You can go back to
impressed
Giant
with the
and,
acting in this
oh,
movie.
No, she won the Oscar.
I
and
know.
rightly so.
She was fantastic. She
was
gained
off
30
the-
pounds for the movie.
I know.
Richard
and
Burton
it all
was
went
excellent.
to her breasts.
I know.
Too, and she just
They
was
were
sexy and
all
was a great,
4 of the people in this
great
film
piece
were
of work.
exceptional.
True.
This movie, it was. I think they said it was the first movie since the 30s that all the major categories that were eligible for an Oscar were nominated for Oscars.
Absolutely.
Mike Nichols, they've said should have got the Oscar. He was nominated.
But he
his
was up
first-
against Man for All
I
Seasons.
know he was beat out
And
by
Man
that.
for All Seasons is
It
a
is.
much
As I
more
reviewed a few weeks
powerful
ago,
film,
yeah.
as you did. Indeed.
But
We've all
you
seen
know,
it.
this film though, for a first-time filmmaker, obviously he had stage experience as a filmmaker,
He
but
did.
he did a fantastic job
did.
keeping this movie going. And I've only heard about this film for years. I've heard about the play, but I had never read the play, seen the play, or saw the film. So
I know.
I'm very happy I watched it. This is a bleak, dark,
It
kind of
is.
depressing movie
Oh, depressing
about
is not the word.
It's about a marriage that's gone sour. There's cruel games that are played.
There's also
between
an
two couples.
an allusion to
Yes,
a
yes.
possible baby that
Exactly.
they lost, and you
And
don't
that-
even know if it's true.
you don't
or
really know
not.
what's going
Yeah,
on.
you really don't. It's all in the mind. It's like they're playing a game against each other.
They're
but
hurting each
but
other.
she-
They're manipulating each other.
True,
It's-
but they're both playing
Oh,
drunks.
I know.
Very
Exceptionally.
difficult to do.
Oh, not easy
Extraordinary.
to do.
The direction of this film
It's
is
great.
mind-boggling.
It's astounding.
It's
It's
a
a beautiful looking
Never
film.
saw
Black
it.
and white. Looks gorgeous.
Brilliant score. I love that opening guitar.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. It's beautiful.
by Alex North.
Alex North.
Wonderful stuff.
It's,
I have the soundtrack. I have the entire film on 2 discs of records.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It's,
I do.
It's just
It's a piece of work.
Really
It's a
powerful
absolute
movie.
classic. I'm so glad you're going back and
No, I
seeing
love-
films
I
that,
love
that,
classics.
that the world of cinema is built
Yeah,
upon.
you gotta watch these
You can't
movies.
just watch the
can't just
Millennium and
Well, no, that's different. I like that too.
Well, I understand
It's
that.
good to
but
watch a
I'm-
little bit of everything.
But you know, I'm so glad you're going back and just seeing films that really the structure of American
I know,
cinema
of
is
course.
built upon.
I always watch classics. I just don't watch it every week. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to watch a classic. You have to understand. Sometimes I'm not in the mood.
Well, sometimes you don't know what you're going to watch because you've never seen it before and you're afraid of the unknown.
No. I research every movie before I watch it to see if I'm in the mood for that storyline.
Well, okay.
The storyline a lot of times trumps a lot. Or if a movie that somebody says, "Oh, you gotta see it," then
But if you
I'm like,
see
"All
a
right, I'll
film,
watch
you know,
it."
if you say like the Life of Emile Zola, Best Picture 1937, if you see that film with Paul Muni, who won Best Actor for that film, you see it gets 4 stars. You may not be in the room for a film about the Dreyfus affair back
Yes.
in France from the early 1900s and so forth. But it's absolutely mesmerizing.
No, I
piece of
agree with
work.
you, but
I
you know,
love it.
again, sometimes you're not in the mood for a certain movie. Sometimes it's too late.
But
you don't
as
want
I
to start
say,
a 3-hour
I'll
movie
just
about
leave it
something.
at this. Sometimes you don't know that you're not in the mood for it until you literally start to turn it
I
on.
know.
And sometimes that's the only way to
I
really
hear you.
find out. Now I'll tell you an example. Last night, just for the hell of it, I put on Lady Macbeth. Okay, I hadn't seen it.
I told you to
before.
watch that.
You told me it was good. I'm thinking, it's kind of set in Victorian English ways, England. It's Lady Macbeth. No, it's set in the Civil War kind of thing. So
It's like 1800s.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I will
That's a
definitely watch it.
Character study.
Let's
more
move
than
right
anything.
on here. Let's do maybe one
Anyway,
or two
two big
more.
guesses for Virginia Woolf.
Absolutely, it's a classic. If you haven't seen it by now, you definitely owe it to yourself to check it out. It's just a brilliant piece
It's
of
a
work.
brilliant piece of
I
work.
think Richard Burton really should have won Best Actor
He
for
was
that. I
great.
think he just steals the show.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
There's a dementia that he
Fantastic.
rides out. I mean, Martha as George and Martha, of course.
It's great.
I mean, she's just spectacular. She totally played a whack job of a sexual predator kind of. It's an amazing. It's an
And
amazing
George Siegel
film.
again. He's
Sandy
great.
Dennis
They're
is
all
almost
great.
like a chemo victim, and
Yeah, I
she's
know.
so frail
Very thin and
she's
She
waif
plays the part perfectly.
She does indeed, and she
Yeah,
won an Oscar, and
she
rightly
did.
so.
All right, so we'll
we're
move
gonna
on
move
quick.
to the present Beguiled. This is the new one, 2017.
I reviewed this a few months ago.
You did indeed. I believe you liked it.
I liked
think
it. I
you
didn't love
did
it, but I
love
liked it.
I tell you something now. I saw both versions now. I saw the
Yes.
71, 72 version
Yes,
with Clint
Clint
Eastwood
Eastwood.
that was directed by Don Siegel, and also had Geraldine Page and the head mistress, if
Yes.
you will, of this girls'
School, I
school
guess.
or girls' learning facility for wayward girls that have nowhere else to go. And Colin Farrell is a wounded officer. He's a Yankee
Yes.
who is wounded outside the gates, and one of the little girls is searching for mushrooms, and
Brings
she
him in.
finds him, and there's a full circle here that I won't go into. But I really like this film. It was directed by
Sofia Coppola.
Sofia Coppola. I always love to see her as the baby. She's the baby in the Godfather.
Yes.
That's
That's
her
true.
being back.
Yeah.
They'd say it's a boy, but it's actually little Sophia.
Cool.
Who's being baptized there. And it was a son, Michael, a son. And I had it destroyed because of all of this must end. But Diane Keaton, she's so wonderful.
She's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's fantastic. But anyway, I like this film. It was very sensuous.
Yes,
there
it
was a
was.
sensuousness about it. I just can't tell you what it was. It was just had a softness to it. That lens just had. There's a very famous photographer. His name is David Bailey, as a matter of fact, and he was very famous for doing nudes and so forth against very green, lush backgrounds, etc. And I think he just did a brilliant. What am I saying? The director of photography of
Yes,
this
yes,
almost
did a great
is as
job.
much as the star in the film.
It's a beautiful
as-
film to look at.
It's a beautifully
Very beautiful.
made. It just has such a sensuousness about it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I almost think Colin Farrell was, I can't really, as far as just pure theater. The first film is a better film because it's more. There's more dialogue. There's more fighting. There's more. There's just more conflict going on. This film, there's not so much conflict. Everybody, except towards the end when Colin goes a little nuts because of something that's happened to him.
Yes.
But I like this film. I really liked it.
Good.
I thought it was very well done. So I'm gonna give you a big yes for The Beguiled.
Glad you liked it.
With Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman. Very nice. But also check out the Clint Eastwood version just for the hell of it. That's also pretty cool. So, okay, you want to do Innocent Blood or you want to pass and wait till next week?
I think we should just end the show. Yeah.
We should?
I think so.
Okay. Gee, I really wanted to get into Donnie Darko. Though.
Well, we'll do those two
I'm
next
gonna
week.
do that. All right, we'll do them next week. Okay.
Yeah, there's a.
All right,
we
so
really
Donnie
should.
Darko. I like this film. I'm
If-
giving it away.
Your
Dude, I
first
just
time?
said it. Yeah,
Okay.
well, I saw it before. I think I saw the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
This time I was.
That's a movie. I'll be honest with you. I never got. I need to watch it again.
I'll tell you. You watch it now, you'll get it.
Yeah, I gotta watch because I watched it when it first came out, and
You
I was just
know,
like, "What is this movie?"
Well, it's kind
I'll
of
watch it again.
It's a takeoff on. I think David Lynch took the rabbit.
Yeah, yeah.
He used in Inland Empire. And here we are going on a little bit
Wow.
more about it than I want to. But, it originally came from a film called Harvey, which was
Yes,
a play
I
on
know,
Broadway,
yes.
starring Jeremy
Stewart.
Stewart. And Jimmy was the guy, and he had this big rabbit named Harvey.
Yes.
And Harvey was an invisible rabbit. I actually saw the play on Broadway, believe it or not. It wasn't with him. I forgot who was in it. with some inane generic actor, but it was good. And Harvey is invisible, and this film, Jake Gyllenhaal is looking at this.
He's
big
got his
giant
invisible
rabbit.
friend, yeah. So
But this film is a time traveling mind intercordial.
isn't there a plane crash in the film too?
Absolutely.
If I remember correctly.
An engine
Yeah,
falls out.
yeah. I gotta
But
watch it again.
You know something? It's so cool. It really is a cool film. I got it. I understood it. There are moments of hilarity in this film that I laugh my ass off. There's a great satire. They mention things of the time, which they
Yes.
don't normally do in films. They'll just talk about specific gurus. Also, Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, is he a
Patrick
pedophile in this movie?
Yes.
Weird.
Well, you gave a big thing away. You don't find that out till the end.
Oh,
But
sorry.
he just ruined it for you people.
Well, it's a 2001 film.
It's a
So.
2001 film. You should have probably seen it by now, but I really did enjoy the director's cut. It was very funny. It was really a dark comedy all the way. It was a Donnie Darko comedy.
Darko
there you
comedy.
go. So I guess we don't really have to review.
Well,
this.
then I'm going to do a
Might mention
Spitfire
it
review of the one. I'll do the Spitfire
Go
flashback.
ahead, Innocent Blood.
I'm doing it quick because this battery's ready to die in that camera.
Is it? Okay.
I'm doing a Spitfire review of Innocent Blood. It's a 1992 John Landis dark comedy horror film.
Vampire movie.
Starring Anthony Napolia, Robert Loggia, and the star of the film, the female vampire. Her name is Anne Purlaud, I believe is her
Right.
name.
She was in La
She
Femme
was
Nikita.
in the film
The
version
film
of La
version.
Femme Nikita,
Yeah.
Luc
Directed by
Besson's
Luc
film,
Besson.
which was her first husband.
Was it?
Yes,
Oh.
she was married to him.
He's a lucky man.
This film is
She's a beautiful
a
girl.
lot of fun. It's a guilty pleasure. It's like American Werewolf in London, a little bit in tone.
Okay.
Set in the world of the New York mob, and Robert Loggia is a
okay.
mob boss. Yeah, you'd like it.
You know, when you first mentioned it in John Landis, I thought this was the one with Eddie Murphy.
No, you're thinking, that's Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, that was
That's
horrible.
crap. No,
Yeah,
this
that
is a
was
cool
garbage.
movie. You'd like this. It's
Oh, no,
violent.
I'm sure I've seen
It's
it.
got
I
sex
know
and
I saw
nudity.
this
Anthony
film.
Napalia's in it.
No, I
you
know
got
I-
Chaz Palminteri.
I saw this
Yeah.
movie.
Kim Coates from Sons of Anarchy's in it.
Ah, there you go.
Check out Innocent Blood. It's a fun little movie.
Okay.
I was really surprised. It's a movie that I've always been aware of, always
Okay.
wanted to see it,
You've always
just
wanted
never
to.
got around to it.
Now you did.
It's also on Amazon. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Innocent Blood's fun. Robert Loggia is a lot of fun. He's got a huge part.
I love Robert.
He does some funny,
He only passed away about 6
weird
months
things
ago.
in this.
So sorry to see him go.
I always loved him, and I'm bummed I didn't get to meet him at one of the Chiller theaters I wanted to.
Was he there?
One of the past ones. That or Monster Mania. One of those two festivals.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get to.
I
I
would
wanted
like to
to.
have met him myself.
But on that
He's a cool
note,
guy.
we're going to end the show. A lot of good films this week. A lot of good conversation.
Well, I feel I didn't really get into Donnie Darko as much as I wanted to, but
It's all right.
maybe I'll redo it next week just for the hell of it.
you
I'll
want to.
re-mention it.
If you want to.
Okay, there
But
you
anyway, till next week, catch us on YouTube as usual. Check out
Catch
the
us
show
if you
there.
can.
If you can. Email us, filmbanter@gmail.com. And like the Facebook page. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming in. We love you. Whatever he was doing. What was that? Are you making fun of
I
something?
was making fun of you, dude.
Shut up.
yeah.
Never mind
See us
that.
on Facebook and rent us on.
That's really not nice to you to do that. Bye.
Try some new Minute Maid orange tangerine. It's got calcium.
Then I'm not drinking it.
Oh, no, it's sweet. You'll like it.
I don't believe you.
Well, then who would you believe?
I don't know, Robert Loggia. Whoa, Robert Loggia.
Billy, your mother's right. New Minute Maid orange tangerine tastes great. And it's got as much calcium as milk.
If you say so, Mr. Loggia.
Yeah.
This is great.
Enjoy your breakfast.
New Minute Maid orange tangerine with calcium.
Yeah.
And that's it, folks.